Hello and welcome to the Daily News Simplified, the why, what, and how of newspaper reading. Today we will discuss the Delhi edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 11th August 2018. So let's start. Now, this news article on page number 8 is related to the introduction of two private member bills in the parliament, one in Lok Sabha and other in the Rajya Sabha. Now, this forms a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the subpart Indian polity. Now, previously in the year 2017, a question was asked related to the private members bill. So under this article, we will try to understand what is a private member bill and how is it different from the public bill. And at the end of this discussion, we will try to answer this question as well. Now let us try to understand what is a private members bill. So simply the process of law making begins with the introduction of bill in either house of the parliament. And a bill can be introduced by either a minister or any other member of the house other than the minister. And when a minister introduces a bill, it is called as the government bill. And if a member other than the minister introduces a bill, it is known as the private members bill. So a private members bill is a bill introduced by any member of the parliament other than the ministers. Now an important fact that should be kept in mind is that both the bills, that is the minister's bill or the public bill or the government bill and the private members bill are governed by the same general procedure and they pass through the same stages in the house. So for passing of a bill, the general procedure is same for both the government's bill and the private members' bill. Now it is also important for us to understand the difference between public bill and a private bill. So the first difference is that a public bill is introduced by a minister in the parliament. However, a private bill is introduced by any member of the parliament other than a minister. Secondly, the policies of government are reflected in the public bill. However, the stand of opposition party on public matters is reflected in a private bill. The third difference is that it has a greater chance to be approved by the parliament. This is because the government has majority in the Lok Sabha. However, a private member's bill has a lesser chance of getting approved in the parliament. Further, the fourth and one of the most important difference is that if a public member's bill is rejected by the House, it leads to the expression of want of parliamentary confidence in the government. And this may lead to the resignation of the current government. And this only happens when the public bill is defeated in the Lok Sabha. So if a public bill is defeated in the Lok Sabha, it leads to the expression of want of parliamentary confidence in the government. However, if a private bill is rejected in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, it does not have any implication on the government. Fifthly, the introduction of public bill requires 7 days notice. However, a private member's bill requires 1 month's notice. And finally, the concerned department, in consultation with the law department, drafts the public bill. The responsibility of drafting a private member bill is on the member concerned. So the key differences are that the public bill is introduced by a minister. However, a private bill is introduced by any other member of the parliament other than the minister. Secondly, the public bill represents the policies of the government, while the private bill generally represents the policy of opposition or the stand of opposition on the public matters. Thirdly, the public bill has greater chance of getting approved in the parliament, while a private member bill has lesser chance of being approved in the parliament. If a public bill is defeated in Lok Sabha, it leads to the expression of want of parliamentary confidence in the government, and this may lead to the resignation of the government. However, no such thing happens if a private member's bill is rejected, and the introduction of public bill requires 7 days notice in a house. However, the private member's bill requires 1 month's notice. And in public member's bill, it is prepared by the concerned department in consultation with the law department. However, a private member bill has to be drafted by the member concerned. Now, another important fact that is related to the private members' bill is that so far only 14 private members' bill have been passed by the parliament since independence. So this is an important fact that should be kept in mind. Now coming to the question that was asked in 2017, it read, with reference to the Parliament of India, consider the following. The first statement reads, a private member's bill is a bill presented by a member of the parliament who is not elected but only nominated by the President of India. Now this statement is wrong because elected members of the parliament other than the ministers can also introduce a private member's bill. Secondly, recently a private member's bill has been passed in the Parliament of India for the first time in its history. Now this statement is also wrong because 14 private members' bill have been passed since independence. So the correct answer in this case is D, neither 1 nor 2. With this, let us move on to the next article. This news article on page number 1 is related to flooding in the Idukki Dam in Kerala. Now, without getting into the details of the flood situation in Kerala, let us try to understand the location and important geographical aspects of the Idukki Dam. And this will form a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic Indian Geography. Further, we will try to understand why is Idukki Dam important for us from prelims point of view. Now, previously in the year 2018, a question was asked related to an artificial lake. So, we will also try to understand why this question appeared in the exam in 2018. Now, the first important fact that is related to the Idukki Dam is that it is constructed across the river Periyar. So, this is an important fact and should be kept in mind. Secondly, the location of map is also important. So, we should know that Idukki Dam lies in Kerala and can be seen in the map here. Another important dam of Kerala is the Mulla Periyar Dam. Thirdly, it is locally known as Kuravan or Kurathi in Kerala. Another important information is that this dam was constructed along with two other dams, and they are the Cheruthoni and Kulamavu Dam. So these two dams were constructed along with the Idukki Dam. Further, the Idukki Dam is a double curvature arch dam. So this is an important information and should also be kept in mind. Now, as we have learned that Idukki Dam is a double curvature arch dam, so let us understand what is an arch dam and what is a double curvature arch dam. So simply an arch dam is a concrete or masonry dam which is curved upstream so as to transmit the major part of water load to the abutments. Now let us understand this statement. Now as you can see in this map, this is the curved dam that has been developed across the river. So the main water body lies behind this. And as can be seen in the picture, the water transmits its force on the curved side or the convex side of this dam. So this is the upstream side and this is the downstream side. So the curved part or the convex part is on the upstream side where the main water body lies. And in this case, the force due to water body is transmitted to the areas where this dam is joined to the hillsides. So these regions are called the abutments. So what we have understood is that it is a concrete dam and it is curved upstream and it transfers its water load towards the abutment. Now this is the picture of Idukki Dam. As you can see, the water body lies towards the convex surface of the dam. Now let us understand what is a double curvature arch dam. So the double curvature arch dam is a type of arch dam which is curved vertically as well as horizontally. As you can see in this picture, the dam is curved horizontally as well as vertically. So a double curvature arch dam is curved both horizontally as well as vertically. Now in the year 2018, a question was asked, which one of the following is an artificial lake? Now the correct answer in this case is Kodaikanal in Tamil Nadu. And this question was asked in 2018 because of the flooding that happened in the Kodaikanal lake. So such locations are important for us from prelims point of view. And the question asked us to identify the type of lake Kodaikanal lake is. So it is an artificial lake. That is why it is important to know that Idukki Dam is a double curvature arch dam. So a similar question can be asked based on the Idukki Dam as well. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 11 is related to a growth in the index of industrial production by 7%. So this will form a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic economic development. Previously in the year 2015, a question was asked related to the highest weightage in the index of 8 core industries in industrial production. Now another question that was asked in 2015 was related to the organization that releases the consumer price index. So it is important for us to know the organization that releases the index of industrial production. So let us try to understand some of the key facts that are related to the IIP or the index of industrial production. And in the end, we will try to answer these questions as well. Now this is in news because the index of industrial production or IIP has registered a growth rate of 7% in June and it was only 3.93% in May. Now the growth in IIP is driven by the acceleration in growth rates in the sectors such as manufacturing, electricity, infrastructure, capital and consumer goods. So this growth in IIP is because of growth in the sectors like manufacturing, electricity, infrastructure and capital and consumer goods. Now let us understand what is IIP. So IIP stands for the Index of Industrial Production and it measures the quantum of changes in the industrial production in an economy and it captures the general level of industrial activity in the country. So simply it measures the change in industrial production in any country. In India, the base year for IIP series is 2011 and 12. So simply if the current IIP reads as 107, it means that there has been a growth of 7% as compared to the base year. That is the IIP for base year 2012-11 is considered as 100. And if the IIP reading is 107, it means there has been a growth of 7% as compared to the base IIP. Further, the Index of Industrial Production is compiled and published by the Central Statistics Office or the CSO of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So this is an important fact from prelims point of view. Further, the IIP has been categorized into two categories. The first is the sectoral classification. This includes the sectors of the economy. For example, the mining sector, the manufacturing sector, and the electricity sector. And the second categorization is based on the usage of the goods. So the second categorization is use based. Now, under the sectoral classification, the industrial production for the purpose of IIP is divided into three sectors, and these are the mining sector, the manufacturing sector, and the electricity sectors. So all these three should be kept in mind and are important from prelims point. Further, the highest weightage has been given to manufacturing in these three sectors. The second classification of IIP is based on the use-based classification, and it includes the primary goods, capital goods, infrastructure or construction goods, immediate goods, consumer durables, and consumer non-durables. So these are the six kind of goods that are included in the Index of Industrial Production. Further, there are 8 core sectors or core industries in the IIP, and these core industries are the main or key industries of the economy. In most of the countries, these industries are the backbone of all other industries. And in India, there are 8 core sector industries. These include the coal, crude oil, natural gas, petroleum refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement, and electricity. Further, the 8 core sectors constitute 40.27% of the total index of industrial production. This is another important fact that should be remembered. The highest weightage has been given to petroleum refinery production, and the lowest weightage has been given to fertilizers production. Now, the importance of IIP or the Index of Industrial Production is that it is a single representative figure to measure the general level of industrial activity in an economy on a monthly basis. So it should also be kept in mind that IIP is released on a monthly basis. Further, it is used by the government agencies, departments, and especially the Ministry of Finance and RBI for policy purposes. Further, the All India IIP forms a crucial input for the compilation of gross value added of manufacturing sector in the GDP. So these 3 points reflect the importance of Index of Industrial Production for Indian economy. Now, another important thing that should be kept in mind is the weight that has been assigned to the core sectors in the IIP or the Index of Industrial Production. So the highest weight has been given to the refinery products, while the least weightage has been given to the fertilizers. So accordingly, the second highest is to electricity, at third number is the steel sector, at fourth number is the coal, at fifth is the crude oil, natural gas is sixth, cement is seventh, and fertilizers is the last or it has the least weightage in the IIP core sectors. Now, regarding the question that was asked in 2015, it reads, in the index of 8 core industries, which one of the following is given the highest weight? So as we saw, the highest weightage has been given to the refinery products, and the second highest weightage is given to the electricity generation. As refinery products is not in the options, the correct answer is B, that is electricity generation. And regarding this question, which one of the following brings out the consumer price index number for industrial workers? The correct answer is the Labor Bureau. So you should know that who releases the index of industrial production as well. Now, another question that was asked in the year 2012 read, in India, in the overall index of industrial production, the indices of 8 core industries have a combined weight of 37.90. Now, the combined weight of 8 core industries was 37.90 in 2012. However, it has now been revised and it is around 40% now. So the question reads, which of the following are among those 8 industries? So now the textile can be easily eliminated, and with this we can eliminate 2 options, that is A and D. So we are left with B and C. However, we know that cement is included in the core sectors. So the correct answer is C, 1, 2, 3 and 4 only. With this, let us move on to the next article. The article on page number 5 is related to the Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve, as it has been listed in the UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. Now, this forms a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic General Issues on Environment and Ecology. So, under this article, we will try to understand some of the key facts that are related to the number of biosphere reserves in the UNESCO's list. Now, questions have been asked previously in the preliminary examination related to famous biosphere reserves and national parks. For example, there were 2 questions in 2015 and there was one question in the year 2017. So biosphere reserves and national parks are important for us from prelims point of view. So the Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve, which lies in the state of Sikkim and is also the highest biosphere reserve in the country, has been included in the UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. It was also included in the UNESCO's World Heritage Site in the year 2016. Another important fact that is related to Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve is that it includes the third highest mountain peak in the world, which is the Kanchenjunga. And with the inclusion of Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserves, the number of biosphere reserves in UNESCO's program have increased to 11. And before Kanchenjunga, the last biosphere reserve that was added to the UNESCO's list was the Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve in 2016. And the first biosphere reserve that was added in the UNESCO's list is the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Further, India has 18 biosphere reserves, out of which 11 have been included in the UNESCO's World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So all these points are important for us from prelims point of view. And these include the location of Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve, the fact that it is also a part of UNESCO World Heritage Site, it includes third highest mountain peak in the world, and the number of biosphere reserves listed in the UNESCO list are 11, and the total biosphere reserves in India are 18. Further, the first biosphere reserve to be added in the UNESCO's list was Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, and the biosphere reserve which was added to the UNESCO's list before Kanchenjunga was the Agastyamalai Biosphere Reserve, which lies in Kerala. So, according to the NCERT, a biosphere reserve is a unique representative ecosystem of terrestrial and coastal areas. And some of these biosphere reserves have been added to the Man and Biosphere program of UNESCO. And the biosphere reserves that are added in the Man and Biosphere program of UNESCO are also known as the World Network of Biosphere Reserves of UNESCO. Now, the biosphere reserves are added into UNESCO list with three objectives. These are, first, the conservation of biodiversity and ecosystem. Secondly, the development, that is association of development with environment. And thirdly, the logistics, that is the research and monitoring of such biosphere reserves. So these are the important facts that have been mentioned in NCERT and we should know them. Further, there are 18 biosphere reserves in India, out of which 11 have been added into the UNESCO's list under the World Network of Biosphere Reserves or the Man and Biosphere program. So the 18 biosphere reserves of India include, first, the cold desert in Himachal Pradesh, the Nanda Devi in Uttarakhand, the Kanchenjunga in Sikkim, the Dihang and Dibang in Arunachal Pradesh, the Manas in Assam, Dibru Saikhowa in Assam, Nokrek in Meghalaya, Panna in MP, Panchmadi in Madhya Pradesh, Achanakmar and Amarkantak in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, Kutch in Gujarat, Simlipal in Odisha, Sundarban in West Bengal, Sheshchalam in Andhra, Agastyamalai in Kerala, Gulf of Mannar, Nilgiri in Tamil Nadu, and the Great Nicobar in Andaman and Nicobar Island. And out of these 18 biosphere reserves, these 11 have been included under the Man and Biosphere program of UNESCO or in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. So these are the Nilgiri, and it was added in 2000, the Gulf of Mannar, Sundarban, Nanda Devi, Nokrek, Panchmadi, Simlipal, Achanakmar and Amarkantak, Great Nicobar, Agastyamalai and Kanchenjunga. So these are the names of 11 biosphere reserves which have been included in the UNESCO's list of World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Now let us try to solve the questions that were asked in the preliminary examination. In 2015, the question that was asked read, which of the following national park is unique in being a swamp with floating vegetation that supports a rich biodiversity? So the correct answer in this case was Kibul Lamjao National Park, and it is also famous for its Sangai deer. And these floating swamps are called as fumdis. Another question that was asked in 2015 read, which one of the following national parks has a climate that varies from tropical to subtropical, temperate and arctic? The correct answer in this case was Namdafa National Park, and it lies in Arunachal Pradesh. The question that was asked in 2017 read, from ecological point of view, which one of the following assumes importance in being a good link between Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats? The correct answer in this case is Sathyamangalam Tiger Reserve. With this, let us move on to the next article. The editorial on page number 6 is related to a humanitarian crisis that is going on in Yemen, events of international importance. And also the locations mentioned in this article are important for us from world geography point of view. Now, in the year 2018, a question was asked related to this humanitarian crisis. So, let us try to understand the location that has been mentioned in this article for the next year's preliminary examination. Now, the Hodeido was in news because Saudi Arabia led Arab coalition forces seized the Hodeido airport from Houthis in June 2018. So, we should know the location of Hodeido from our prelims point of view. Now, Hodeido lies in Yemen and it opens in the Red Sea. And you should remember that it does not open in Gulf of Aden. So, it is important to remember that Hodeido opens in Red Sea. Now, understanding the issue that is going on in Yemen, it is a conflict between the Arab coalition with the Houthis, who are considered as the rebels. And these Houthi rebels are supported by Iran. So, this conflict has led to a humanitarian crisis in Yemen. And we should know that Houthis are an ethnic group in Yemen that predominantly belong to the Shia sect of Islam. Now, why is the Hodeido airport important for the Arab coalition? It is because it serves as a major route of Iranian imports to the Houthi fighters in Yemen. So the Arab coalition wants to control this Hodeido airport in order to stop the support of Iran to the Houthi fighters or the Houthi rebels. So these are the important facts related to the Hodeido airport, and the location of Hodeido is important for us from prelims point of view. And we should also know that this conflict between the Arab coalition and the Houthi rebels, which are supported by Iran, has led to a humanitarian crisis in Yemen. Coming to the question that was asked in 2018, the question read, very recently in which of the following countries have lakhs of people either suffered from severe famine or acute malnutrition or died due to starvation caused by war and ethnic conflicts? So the correct answer in this case was Yemen and South Sudan. So such events are important for us from prelims point of view. That is why Hodeido also becomes important for the next year's preliminary examination. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 4 is related to a satellite named GSAT-11 of ISRO. So it is related to the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic Current Events of National Importance. So let us try to understand what is the issue that has been highlighted in this news and some basic features that are related to the GSAT-11 satellite. Now, this article is in news because the GSAT-11 satellite was planned to be launched in May 2018. ISRO recalled the GSAT-11 back to India from the launch site in French Guiana. And it was because ISRO wanted additional checks before it was launched. And these checks were required because ISRO had already lost communication to another communication satellite, which is the GSAT-6A. So the ISRO has recalled the GSAT-11 for additional checks. And this was important because ISRO has already lost communication with another communication satellite with the name GSAT-6A. Now we should remember the location of launch site from prelims point of view. So the French Guiana lies in the South American continent. Now some facts that are related to GSAT-11 are that the weight of GSAT-11 is 5,725 kg. Now this weight is important because this weight of the satellite is important because ISRO's own geosynchronous launch vehicle with the name GSLV Mk3 rocket can only lift a satellite weighing not more than 4 tons to the geostationary transfer orbit. This means that GSLV Mk3 can launch a satellite below the weight of 4 tons or 4000 kgs. That is why ISRO is not using the GSLV Mk3 for the launch of GSAT-11. And GSAT-11 is the heaviest planned Indian geostationary communication satellite. So all these facts are important, that it is a geostationary satellite and it is a communication satellite as well. And we know that geostationary satellites are put in geostationary orbit, and this orbit lies at a distance of 36,000 kilometers from the equator, and it lies directly above the equator. So the important facts are that the weight of the satellite is 5,725 kg. And it cannot be launched by the GSLV Mk3. So the GSAT-11 will be launched from European Space Agency. So the GSAT-11 will be launched from the European Spaceport in French Guiana in South America. So all these points are important for us from prelims point of view. With this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. Now let us move on to the question for the day.